All right, well, peace, peace, peace. First and foremost, man, hopefully the Most High in your house shall blessing your day. By His mercies you are consumed. We're alive in the Most High in your house shall's body, and two are naturally alive. Man, and we kind of going to get into this, man, because, it's a little impromptu, but I'm not sure if we talked about this already, but because it's nothing, because, a lot of times our people, man, whether in the word, out the word, we always say, man, why do our people, we celebrate, degenerate behaviors or type of people or like things of that nature, man. But are our people or our fascination with with gangsters and killers and violence and stuff like that. But it's like nothing new on the sun because we've been like that, honestly, man. Because all like we always say on here, man, we the same people that chose Barabbas, man. So that's why our people even right now with the whole, even for decades and decades with the gang stuff and with the gang culture, and even now it's got waxly worse with all this drill stuff and stuff like that. But our people, we've been that way, honestly. So and also too I was thinking about this earlier, and in the showers as the days of Noah was, it said it was covered with violence. So now it's kind of the same thing. But with our people, we kind of been that way, to be honest with you, man. But I was last week, last Sunday, I was kind of reading Proverbs 15, and I was I was thinking about this, man, because this is we just gonna get into it, man. Proverbs 14 verse 21 and 28, it says, "In the multitude of people is the king's honor, but in one of the people, and want of the people is the destruction of the prince." So it says in it says, "In the multitude of the people is the king's honor, but in the want of the people there's a destruction of the prince." Now, and if you read the Good News translation, if you look at other translations, this is pretty much saying the king is only as isn't really without the people to serve, the king is really nothing. That's why not saying that. That's why Yahushua made him himself a servant, things of that nature. He was honestly but still. He was just saying that this is what I want y'all to do to me, not that a king is pretty much that's what it says in other translations. Honestly, it's the king as a king, but we know Yahushua is the king of kings, so he's it doesn't matter if we was here or not, so I don't want to say it like that, but it's pretty much meaning the king is nothing out the people he serves, things of that nature, or pretty much it's kind of bigger than that type of message. But we want to look at different aspects, so let's look at this again. It says, "And the multitude of people is the king's honor, but in one of the people is destruction of the prince." So we know what is this one of the people with what gospel witness testimony wise, man. It's Barabbas. We want Barabbas, honestly, because who's let's look at this real quick. Let's go to Matthew 27 real quick. Cause our people been that way, man. Our people kind of been that way. It's nothing new, honestly. We the same people that chose Barabbas, man. So Matthew 27 verse 16, it says, "And they had then had a notable prisoner called Barabbas." And this is very key, a notable prisoner, man, because see that kind of goes into the beginning when it says the earth was filled with giants. Honestly, with those are just talking about people of known, people of renown, mighty men, mighty men. Honestly, kind of in modern day, famous people, to be real with you. But I always think about this, honestly, he was a notorious, the Barabbas was a notorious thief, a notorious gangster, honestly. Think about Omar, pretty much, from The Wire, pretty much. That's what it is, because it said a notable prison, so people knew Barabbas. People know, similar The Wire, with Omar, it's the same type of thing. So let's read this again. So it says, Matthew chapter 20 27 verse 16, "And they said, and they had a notable prisoner called Barabbas, and therefore they gathered together Pilate and said, Whom will ye have? I release unto you, Barabbas or Yahushua, which is called Christ. For verse 18, nothing can stand before envy. For he knew that envy they had delivered him." Yeah, the scribes, the Pharisees, even people things of that nature, nothing can stand before envy. So, and of course they chose Barabbas. So we want Barabbas, honestly. So in the one of the people, honestly, is the destruction of the prince. And who's the prince? Of course, Isaiah 9:6 is Yahushua. Isaiah 9:6, it says, "For unto us a child is born and given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder. His name shall be called the Wonderful, the Counselor, Counselor, the mighty Howard, the everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. So yeah, so yeah, man. So that's is what it is, man. That's one. So it's nothing new with our people, man. Like that. Well, like because our people say, well, why we always like like with the powers and like and you know what. Here's the thing too, because even though it like for me like the Wire is my favorite TV show of all time. I think it's the best TV show of all time. Like the greatest TV show of all time. What is it my favorite? Probably what I think is the greatest TV show of all time, right? I think that's even though it's more how actually the streets work, how actually it's more like how things actually works honestly. But other things like Power and BMF and like other like crime dramas, it kind of tends to glorize that lifestyle. But I think like even like things like The Wire or even with our outside our people nation like The Sopranos, it just goes to show you that that's actually how it works, not literally glamorizing it. Honestly, it just shows you how that works. But that's another story for another day. But pretty much, man, because because a lot of our people in the world out the world saying, listen, man, why do we always like not like hood stuff or gangster stuff and like don't really I like a hood movie here and I can't watch it every day, but I'll still watch like still hood movie classics stuff like that. I'll watch because more honestly now to get the little meanings of it. Sometimes that's why we even share reels up here sometimes and get you like certain things, certain scenes and stuff like that. Honestly, look at it spiritually, but that's just neither is what it is with that, but pretty much, man, it's our people been that way, honestly, man, because we the same people that chose Barabbas over, like, the Most High himself, honestly, manifested in the flesh. So, that's just is what it is right there, man. So that just goes to show you nothing new in the sun. That's why, like, with, like our people always kind of been that way, honestly. So, so hopefully it's edifying, man. So, yeah, so peace.